Hello and welcome to Fin24. With us in studio today, we have Sally Muing, a brand reputation specialist. Welcome, Sally.
Thank you very much, Monsieur Khan.
Sally, with all due respect to William Shakespeare, now is the summer of our discontent. South African consumers are struggling. We are having electricity tariff increases, food prices are rising. Investors are unhappy and uncertain about South Africa. As a brand reputation specialist, how do you think the leadership of President Jacob Zuma has affected brand South Africa?
Badly, very, very, very badly, almost from the beginning. I think that I fear that President Zuma doesn't appreciate the impact of his own conduct, of his words on the world around him.
You think that he doesn't comprehend the impact that it has? Is that possible, that a leader cannot comprehend the impact that he has on a country?
Well, you know, I think about it a lot, and I wonder whether he has good advisors around him. So President Zuma is either bad at listening at the people who advise him, or he has very bad people advising him. The fact is, he keeps making the same mistakes, saying the same things over and over again, and he doesn't seem to care whether people are happy with what he says or not. I mean, just yesterday he stood up and said Van Rooyen, his 4-day finance minister, is the best qualified finance minister he's ever employed. I mean, he knows how people responded the first time he appointed this man, and he still says the same. He knows that those utterances are not sending the right message, not only here, but to our potential investors, to those investors who are here already.
So you have no doubt that he has definitely added to the uncertainty and unhappiness about not only potential investors, but investors who are already here. Are they pulling out? Are we having investors pulling out of South Africa? Because that's something we haven't actually focused on. We keep on speaking about potential investors and potential investors being uncertain about whether they should invest in South Africa. Has President Zuma's conduct alienated investors who were already in South Africa?
Definitely. I think that you're correctly putting it. We have not been paying attention to people who have been quietly leaving South Africa. A number of American companies have recently moved to Nairobi, Kenya, because they're no longer happy with being here. And some are considering also moving away from South Africa because the level of confidence in brand South Africa has gone down. So the conduct of our leadership is not just impacting on people whom we should be attracting to come and invest here, but people who are already here. They're beginning to wonder whether this is the right place they should be, whether it's still worth their while to remain in South Africa with the kind of leadership we have.
What should we be doing to rebuild confidence within the country, amongst ordinary South African citizens, within brand South Africa, but also to rebuild confidence in investors?
Well, first of all, you know, the most urgent thing is to get the numbers right. That we have to, hopefully the budget speech tomorrow will show that we'll send the right messages to South Africans, to the world outside, to say we're going to start managing our finances correctly. But we also need the kind of leadership that will, on an ongoing basis, send the right messages. Right now, we don't have all brands are led from the head, you know, from the front. So if we don't have the right people leading brand South Africa and appreciating how important it is to have a reputation that is unassailable, that is trustworthy, that's predictable, then we're going to keep going in the wrong direction.
But does it help that we are focusing on the numbers and the numbers and the numbers and getting the numbers and the numbers and the numbers right, but we are not focusing on the ethos?
Well, we should. Well, the numbers are important for investors because people put their money into an investment destination because they think they will get good returns for their investors in return. But we also have to look at the way we conduct ourselves. I think that you know, the continued focus on the Zuma man alone is not sufficient. I think, in my view, the cancer is in the system. The ANC has been supporting Zuma pretty much from the beginning. They've stood around him, in support of him, they've shielded him, even when the Nkandla thing started. Well, even before Nkandla, when Becky was being fired, they've been with him. And they've been with him through. So the corruption in South Africa is not just localized in Nkandla. Throughout the system, there are many reports and there's evidence of big tenders going to people because they are politically connected. This is not just anecdotal stuff. It's real stuff that's happening in South Africa. So if we cannot have, especially leaders of state-owned enterprises or senior government officials respecting the Public Management Finance Act, the Public Finance Management Act that government likes to boast so much about, then we're not going to get anything right.
You recently wrote a piece which described President Jacob Zuma as the cancerous lump within the ANC.
I
But
did.
surely, if there's a cancerous lump, it affects the rest of the body. How accountable should the ruling party be held for its continuous support of President Jacob Zuma, like you're saying, if it is damaging brand South Africa to the effect that we've seen?
Well, my view at this stage is that the whole ruling party, or the body called the ruling party, is cancerous itself. The cancer has metastasized through the system. If the expression bringing an organization into disrepute really matters to the ANC, they would have seen long ago that Zuma, their leader, has brought the ANC that we so much respected over the decades into disrepute. So if they don't see anything wrong with his conduct, it means that they agree with it, it means that they support it. So I haven't seen any indication, except from people who've already been fired or were not in the system, who've retired, all these elderly ANC people who are beginning to look back to say, oh, that's not right. I don't respect those people. I want to respect people who are in the system, who are able to stand up and say, we cannot do things this way, it's wrong. And I don't see anybody doing that because they're still enjoying the fat on the gravy train.
Hopefully we'll be able to check in with you post-budget to see if there is some stopping the barrage of negativity attached to brand South Africa.
Well,
we have a beautiful country. We have a wonderful country.
Definitely, but it's not enough if we don't have the right people with the right attitude, with the right considerations running it. So we're all waiting to see whether Pravin Gordhan is going to save us from this morass.
If Pravin Gordhan is going to be the chemo to the cancer.
Exactly. We're waiting.
Thank you, Sally.
Pleasure.